In this module, we discuss about physical social engineering and insider threat dynamics. When cybersecurity is discussed, attention usually gravitates towards screens, networks, and digital systems. Yet, many of the most effective attacks never begin online. They begin in hallways, reception areas, parking lots, conference rooms, and shared spaces, environments where human interaction, politeness, and routine shape behavior. Physical social engineering and insider threat dynamics sit at the intersection of trust, access, and human behavior. They remind us that cybersecurity does not end at the keyboard. This section explores how physical presence amplifies social engineering, how insider risk emerges, and why intent is far less important than impact. Why physical presence changes everything. Physical presence is a powerful trust amplifier. When someone is physically present, they benefit from assumptions that do not exist online. They must belong here. Someone else would have challenged them. It would be awkward to question them. These assumptions are rarely examined in the moment. Attackers exploit the fact that social discomfort often outweighs security concerns. Tailgating and the politeness trap. One of the most common physical social engineering techniques is tailgating. An attacker follows an authorized individual through a secured entrance, relying on politeness rather than credentials. The technique works because holding doors is socially encouraged. Questioning feels confrontational. Responsibility feels diffused. Security controls exist, but social norms override them. Borrowed legitimacy through props. Attackers often use physical props to signal legitimacy. Uniforms, badges, clipboards, branded clothing, or equipment create visual authority. These cues shortcut verification. People trust symbols. The attacker does not need to prove identity, only to appear consistent with expectations. Pretexting in physical spaces. Physical pretexting involves creating a believable reason for presence. Common pretexts include IT support, maintenance, delivery, auditing, and contractors. These roles are expected to move freely and ask questions. The more familiar the pretext, the less scrutiny it receives. The power of casual conversation. Casual conversation is an underestimated attack vector. Small talk builds rapport. Rapport lowers defenses. Information is shared informally, often without realizing its sensitivity. Details about systems, schedules, roles, and processes leak easily in relaxed settings. Attackers listen more than they speak. From physical access to digital compromise. Physical access often enables digital compromise. Once inside, attackers may plug in rogue devices, access unlocked workstations, photograph sensitive information, plant malware, or observe workflows. Physical and digital security are not separate domains, they reinforce each other. Understanding insider threat dynamics. Insider threats are often misunderstood as malicious insiders. In reality, most insider incidents involve negligence, mistakes, policy circumvention, and social pressure. Intent is not required for damage to occur. Systems that assume insiders are always trustworthy create blind spots. The insider spectrum. Insider behavior exists on a spectrum, well intentioned but unaware, overworked and rushed, overprivileged, manipulated by outsiders, or malicious actors. Security fails when it treats this spectrum as binary. Why trust is not the same as safety. Organizations rely on trust to function, but trust without verification creates risk. The goal is not to eliminate trust, but to bound it, to ensure that trust does not grant unlimited access or unchecked authority. Least privilege applies to people as much as systems. Physical security as a governance issue. Physical security controls like badges, access logs, visitor policies are often treated as operational details. They are governance mechanisms. They define who belongs, who can move, and who can access sensitive spaces. Weak physical governance undermines digital security. Insider risk in hybrid work environments. Hybrid work complicates insider dynamics. People move between offices, homes, co working spaces, and public environments. The definition of inside blurs. Insider risk becomes less about location and more about access and behavior. This requires new mental models. Detection without distrust. Effective insider risk management does not rely on suspicion. It relies on visibility, segmentation, anomaly detection, and clear boundaries. Systems should surface unusual behavior without assuming malicious intent. This reduces harm while preserving trust. Why blame makes risk worse? When insider incidents lead to blame, people become less likely to report mistakes. Silence increases exposure. A culture of psychological safety where issues can be raised without fear is a security control. Security improves when people speak up early. Designing physical environments for security. Security aware environments make the right behavior easy, like clear signage, controlled access points, well defined visitor processes, and visible verification queues reduce reliance on individual judgment. Good design reduces social friction. Why this matters for cyber resilience? Physical social engineering and insider risk remind us that cybersecurity is systemic. It spans people, processes, and environments. Ignoring the physical dimension leaves a gap that attackers are happy to exploit. The key takeaways here are: physical presence amplifies trust, and trust can be exploited. Insider risk is rarely about malice, it is about access, pressure, and human behavior. Effective cybersecurity does not eliminate trust, it structures it.